Good afternoon and welcome to the first show of the award-winning third season of Raising the NSBAR. I'm Jeff Lasky, the CEO of this great organization, the Shore-Barrington Association of Realtors. I hope you are continuing to stay safe and healthy. Before we get started, please be advised that we've updated our COVID-19 resources page on NSBAR.org. We continue to have a COVID-19 resources purple button at the top of the website that is there no matter what page you go to. Click on that to get the most up-to-date information. Let's continue to be diligent about being safe. The finish line is in sight. Since it is our first show of the new season, my producer Bradley Laberman and I felt we needed to get a real headliner as our guest, a big draw. And not only were we able to do that, but she also happens to be one of my best friends in the industry, which tells you how tolerant she is and how easy she is to get along with. Sue Miller is the president of our state realtor association, Illinois Realtors. Her 30-plus year real estate career speaks for itself. She's been actively involved in the Realtor Association at the local, state, and national levels and served in various leadership capacities at each level. She's been the recipient of awards from all over the state and national scene, including being one of a select few to be honored with the Illinois Realtors Distinguished Service Award, as well as being the State Realtor of the Year in 2017. She also continues to serve on the board of Midwest Real Estate Data, aka Amred, and when she has a minute, she is a managing broker for Coldwell Banker, the real estate group. Good afternoon, Sue. Well, so let's jump right into the deep end and start with this. Being the state president during the pandemic is undoubtedly a little different than it would be in normal times. Even so, I know I'm interested, and I'm sure our audience is interested in what the heck you do on a day-to-day basis as Madam President.
Well, Jeff, first of all, thanks for having me on your podcast today. It is always an honor and a pleasure to converse with you and the North Shore-Barrington members. So on a day-to-day basis as Madam President, it's first an honor and a pleasure to serve. What my role is to really be the visionary and the focus group and the guardian of the health and the welfare of the association. So my role is not to micromanage what goes on in Springfield, not to micromanage Jeff Baker and his team, but my role is to keep my ears and my eyes open to what's going on in the field, on the street, and in the industry, and to give them feedback and direction to where we're going tomorrow, next month, during the course of my guardianship. So every day I wake up and I want to hear, see, and listen and feel the heartbeat of the industry and report back.
Okay, so obviously you're not doing this face-to-face, right, with everybody. But you've mentioned you've had a lot of interactions with our members. So what do you do intentionally to reach out and speak with our individual members? Or do you just get enough of that through the day-to-day responsibilities at Illinois Realtors?
So intentionally, because we've been under the very strict rules of the pandemic, we have made a very direct desire to reach out and touch our members. Each person in the leadership team has been asked to pick up the phone and make those calls, make the contacts, call the people that you've not touched before, reach the members and just make the call. How are you? How's your business? What's going on in your neck of the woods? Find out how they are personally, business-wise, and just the feel for their communities. Every piece of the ground in Illinois is being touched by this pandemic differently. And unless you know what's going on, we can't represent them. So in lack of face-to-face contact, the next best thing is what I call voice to voice. So we've picked up the phone and we've made those calls. I have spoken to more members this year than ever. And I got to tell you, they're shocked when I pick up the phone and I go, hey, it's Sue Miller. They're like, the Sue Miller? Yep, that Sue Miller. And we will have a conversation that is meaningful. So face-to-face has not happened, but voice to voice has certainly happened, and I'm glad that I have.
Yeah, and so to be clear, these are members that aren't necessarily participating on committees or in leadership or anything like that. These are people that, I hate to say it, you know what I mean? I don't want to say just a regular member, because every member is special, but they're not members that are participating in something that you're working on with them on a committee or something like that.
That's right. We've reached out to just what I'm going to say the non-participating member, the member on the street who's probably not been touched before. And I have reached to them just to say, hey, thank you for being a member. What's going on in your neck of the woods? And along with the voice to voice, I've tried to maximize my use of Facebook and my ability to connect through other social media to members who may know me or recognize me. Because, frankly, Jeff, you and I know this isn't my first trip around the block. I've been around a long time. I'm a recognized person. So people reach me because they know me. So when I pick up the phone or I do a call to action, and I'll use the example recently for the business meetings. I asked our members to send in a video. Tell me what you're doing to be united, strong, and resilient. We got over 30 submissions from members that aren't necessarily in leadership, that literally took a video and sent it in to Illinois Realtors. Those are the members that I've reached or touched through some means that have said, hey, Sue asked, I'll send. That's the importance of voice to voice or through some other means. That's the importance of reaching out and asking, what's going on in your world?
It's exciting for the members. I know 5 of our members sent in videos that were featured recently at the winter meetings. It was exciting. Sue, I've known you for many years, long before you became such a prominent big shot figure in realtor world. You've always been relentlessly upbeat. And so is this something that just comes naturally to you, or did you have to learn to be that way?
I give my credit for my personality to my parents. My parents were saints. They taught you that every day of your life is a gift and you have to maximize it. Every day of your life is a gift of 86,000 seconds, and you don't get to bank them. You don't get to borrow against them. You have to spend them wisely with the best interest of all at heart. So every day you wake up and you make the best of it, each and every second. And at the end of the day, you put your head on the pillow and you know you've done no harm to none. So every day you wake up, and there are days that you just, it's not going to be the best day, but you make the best of every day. So I give the credit for my resiliency and my best day outlook to my mom and my dad. I had an interesting childhood, which most people know. I was an only child of my mother's first marriage. She remarried. I became an oldest child of natural children. And then she and my stepdad began fostering children and then adopting them. So I became one of 16. So I had 13 brothers. And of course, that really played with the psychology of who Sue Miller is. So that helped with the whole best girl attitude. There are no bad days. Some days have challenges, and you make the most of every day you have, because there are no guarantees.
Well, and I can vouch for the fact, because I've seen you in a billion times in a billion different situations, that this is really you. And that's what's cool about it, is this is really Sue Miller. So
Yeah. You make the most of it. And if you do that and you do it authentically, people know that. And that's, I think, again, the law of attraction. You attract what you put out there. And I think in my world, both my professional world and my personal world, when you put out every day that you'll give them 150%, that's what people want from you.
Okay, well, so then let's go down that path for just a second about being genuine, about, now that you're in the position you're in, you've been, so many contacts within the state, but also nationally. And so my question is, in doing this on a day-to-day basis, does that reinforce your faith in realtor world? Or does it, is it tough sometimes because in every industry, you're going to run into people that you probably don't want to necessarily hang out with, right? But overall, how do you feel about realtor world as you have all these interactions?
It does reinforce my faith in realtor world. Realtors are good people. They're good to the humans, they're good to the earth, and they're good to their communities. Rarely do you find a realtor who doesn't live by the code, that doesn't live by their desire to make the place that they are a better place. When you meet a true realtor, you know that they're good to the people that they work with, they're good to the people that they serve, and they're good to the communities that they live in. So I have no angst to any of the realtors that I have worked with, served with, and obviously will continue to serve and humbly work for. Never have I met a bad realtor.
All right, well, that's great. All right, so now that we've got realtor world all set here, I'm going to pivot away from realtor world for just a second and ask you, independent of your involvement with realtor organizations, have you had an interest in politics?
Well, if you're a good realtor, you always have an interest in politics because politics is about communities and politics is about issues. And if you're in real estate, you've always had issues because real estate, being literally the backbone of economies, is always going to have issues. So the three of them, issues, real estate, and politics, certainly go hand in hand. So you can't be in one without the other. But when you break down politics to issues and people, then you talk about real estate. Real estate is all about building relationships and solving problems. And that's what politics is, building relationships and solving problems. So sure, I've been in real estate, I've been in politics. I like both. It's all about building relationships and solving problems.
Okay, so then from an advocacy perspective, right? And regarding the Realtor Association and advocacy, I'd like to talk a little bit about the value of the association's advocacy to the member on the street.
So that's where we need to get our message across. Most people think about RPAC and advocacy as one of the same, and in the investment and advocacy, and they don't get the connection. RPAC, the investment, the tool of giving money, gets you an opportunity to build relationships, which gets you to the table to talk about the issues. It's the ticket to play. So you aren't supporting a human or a particular party. You are supporting an issue. You're supporting a relationship to get you to the table. And I'm going to use our most recent winter meetings for exactly that example. Hours after our new Speaker of the House, Chris Welch, was nominated and appointed, he came to us and said, hey, let's have a conversation. Hours. That's a true demonstration of a relationship that an investment in RPAC created. Hours after he was appointed. Similarly, the majority Senate leader came to us and said, hey, let's have a conversation. The Black Caucus leader came to us and said, let's have a conversation. So the realtor relationships that were created by our advocacy investments are so strong that here we are in a lame duck session and we get to have those relationship conversations. Advocacy in action is about those investments in issue-based relationships. I can't say it often enough. Those dollars are so important to get you to the table to make sure our issues are on the top. Because if they're not, we get swept aside, somebody else's issues get to rise. Issues are always going to be on the table.
All right, so, but I want to be clear on this. You don't always agree with every candidate that's supported or every issue that's supported. So how, if at all, does that affect your commitment to RPAC?
You cannot always agree with every candidate, but we are not candidate driven, we're issues driven. So again, I'll say it as kindly as I can. I'd rather have my voice at the table and choose to disagree, but have the conversation at the table, than to not be allowed to have the conversation. So building the relationship is better than not having a relationship at all. So again, agree to disagree if that's where you get to, but build the relationship to have the conversation. And that's what advocacy dollars are all about. So continue to invest to build the relationship. I'm an SLC for a candidate out here in the county. We don't always disagree. We might even represent or come from two different political parties, but we agree to disagree on different issues, but we have candid conversations on why we disagree. And that's okay. I see his point, he sees mine, and literally we will end a conversation with thank you, because he might not have seen my point before, but we agree to disagree, and that's perfect. That is called democracy in action. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what's the old expression? If you don't have a seat at the table, it's because you're on the menu, right?
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
so that makes a lot of sense to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about your history in the industry, because I know you have a passion, a substantial commitment you've had for many, many years with the Real Estate Education Foundation, Reef. So I'd like to ask you to talk just a bit about your belief in the value of education to the real estate practitioner.
Absolutely. And it is my passion. It's my passion in life. And of course, if it's your passion in life, it's your passion in your industry. I believe, again, every day you should learn something new. And if you stop learning, you stop living. So if you take that and you bring it to your industry, from the day you get your license, you should learn something every day. If you look at my credentials, clearly I'm a lifelong learner. And I think everybody in this industry should be a lifelong learner. So if you take that passion for learning and you give the opportunity through a Reef opportunity, Reef has committed each and every day of its existence to give back to not only realtors, but realtor family members, extended family members, people who want to come into the industry. Over $800,000 in scholarships that have been donated through its doors so they can assist others in additional education opportunities. That continues the lifelong learning process for others into the real estate industry. So Reef allows others to continue along my passionate path of learning about real estate, or letting people in the real estate industry help others learn. It's an amazing opportunity for people to enter the industry. Last year, Reef was able to give additional scholarships to minorities. The state gives us enough money to allow us to fund a certain number of minority scholarships for pre-licensed education. Reef doubled that amount. So we are able to assist many minorities to get their pre-licensed education. Reef is doing amazing things with the money that they have and the number of scholarships they have. And the beauty of Reef is that is governed by Illinois Realtor members. So we have the best interest of our members in heart. We're getting donations, we're managing that money, and we're making sure that members and members' families are benefiting from that. So lifelong learners, giving scholarships and opportunities to new lifelong learners. It can't get better in my world.
Sounds to me like it's in everybody's best interest to make sure that people are better educated, have opportunities to be better educated, and welcomed into our industry, right?
Well, here's the deal, Jeff. We have nothing to sell. All we do in our industry is build relationships and help people, our clients and customers, make better decisions. We're educating them to make better decisions, to better their life, to better their place in their world. So if we're better educated, we can do a better job helping them get educated. So by learning more, we can be better teachers, better facilitators, better helpers, and that makes our clients and our customers smarter too.
Sure does.
So as we learn, they learn. And that really is the full circle of life in real estate.
Well, it feels like the whole industry, right, is rising along with that tide, so to speak. And that kind of leads into a question I've been holding on to here. I want to ask it at the right time. It's a really interesting question to me. What does it mean to you to be a good realtor?
So to be a good realtor to me means that I've made an impact on, well, my street, my neighbor, my community, my school, my office, my assistant, my industry, you, the people who pick up the phone and call me, to know that when I leave this planet, somebody's going to say, she did a good thing. She'll be missed and she made an impact. Because real estate touches every part of our world. There's not a piece of the puzzle that a good realtor doesn't touch if they're doing their job right. Because waking up every day and selling houses isn't what a good realtor does. They are impactful in each and every action they take because they're a community advocate and they're a lifelong giver to each and every human they touch. So for me, I want to be remembered when my life is done that I made a difference in the world in everything I touched.
Well, you've already pretty much hit the check marks on a lot of those things already, but I know you're still working at it. So
There's a few more things I have to do.
That's cool. Yeah. So let's go back to Illinois Realtors for a moment, and so other than the pandemic and the first new CEO of Illinois Realtors in more than a couple of decades, right? Other than that, it's been a pretty normal time to be president of Illinois Realtors. IR's new CEO, Jeff Baker, by the way, is going to be a guest of ours the first week of March. We're very excited about that. I'm saving all of the really hard questions, really, mean questions for him. How often are the two of you in touch, by the way? How's the collaboration going?
So when Jeff was selected, almost 2 years ago now, we aligned ourselves immediately, knowing that I would be his president when the transition happened. So Jeff and I were aligned for leadership roles, Ed and Gary aligned. So really, Jeff and I have been in alignment since that April. So that would have been April of 19 when he was selected. So our relationship has been building since that moment. So how often do we touch base? Often. We have been on the phone as often as we need to, and some weeks are heavier than others, depending on the schedule, depending on the issue. We've been on the phone at 6 in the morning on a Sunday. We've been on the phone at 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday, depending on what's going on. But I will tell you that Jeff is an amazing human being, one of the smartest guys I've ever met in my entire life. He can balance the workload and the processing of the association better and faster than anyone I've ever seen work in that capacity. And I've gotten to work with Gary Clayton for a long time, and again, not taking anything away from Gary, but if you take Gary and you put new rechargeable batteries in, you got Jeff.
Oh.
So that's pretty amazing. So we are in communication fairly often. When Jeff first came on board and the pandemic first hit, the executive committee met every other Monday for hours as we needed to versus being in person as often as we were. That has scaled back a little bit because we do a lot via internet and connectivity. But Jeff and I are still on the phone quite a bit, and that's important. Jeff considers his executive committee as a great big focus group. So again, we're not there to micromanage the day-to-day operations. That's his role. But our role is to really be his focus team to bounce every idea off of. What if we did this? What if we did that? How do you feel about this? What would be the members' take on this? And he wants to know what's going on in our worlds. And right now he has a perfect mix. He has some really good input from me, rural America, from Zeke, central Chicago, from Mike, Main Street, from Ed down in Bloomington. So he gets a really good feel of what's going on in Illinois right now. And he uses us for that. So we talk a lot, and that's how it should be. And he's got a great team.
Well,
So
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, we communicate often, and that's expected of his executive team.
Well, I'm glad to hear it's going so well. And in the time that Jeff's been in the big seat, so to speak, I've had a chance to speak to him on a number of occasions. Great guy to talk to. What I like about him is he tells it like it is. You know, we don't hold back from each other in terms of our agreements or disagreements about things, and nothing serious in terms of disagreements. But I'm glad to hear that things are going so well. While we're on the topic of Illinois realtors, obviously IR provides a lot of benefits to our members. So I want to give you the opportunity to focus on maybe one or two things that you prefer to talk about most when you speak about the benefits of IR membership.
Well, and again, I think the largest benefits to the member on the street, we've already touched base with. We've talked about advocacy.
Mhm.
We've talked about a little bit about education, but I really do want to expand on education, that we really do have a full portfolio of education that's available. And we offer that in, again, generally live classes, but with the pandemic, we haven't had a lot of live. So we've been doing a lot of web, hybrid, as well as portfolioed, on-demand classes. Of course, we haven't talked a lot about pro standards, and most of the pro standards throughout the state is handled through Illinois realtors. So truly, that is one of the large benefits that we have. And most importantly, the large benefit that we have is all of the communications that we offer through Illinois realtors. As a clearinghouse for information, we are outstanding. Just again, using an example of the COVID pandemic, we immediately last March said we want to be the clearinghouse for COVID-19 information. We put up a web page. We became the center. We know that we have had tens of thousands of hits to our COVID-19 page. We updated it daily. People came to us first. They wanted to know what was going on. Where do we get the information? How do we know what the state of Illinois is doing? So as a clearinghouse for information, we became the place for people to go. So I do think that we have, once again, through our updates and through our insightful information and intuitive information, become a clearinghouse for information. That's a benefit for each and every one of our members. So education, obviously our advocacy and education, our professional standards and ethics enforcements, communication, and of course that last benefit, our legal outreach. Legal, taking care of everything, keeping people up to speed, and our day-to-day outreach, keeping people informed. It's so important through our government affairs, through our general outreach, making sure our members know what's going on. I can't say that any one of our pillars are less important than the other, and they're all integrated. And that truly speaks to the people in Springfield. They know that there's no standalone silo in the benefits. Everybody has to know what everybody's doing because all the benefits are important. And you never know what the member is going to need because everything's important today. Every member is going to go out on the street. We don't know what that consumer wants. We don't know what that customer is going to need. They have to know enough to know where to get the information. And if Illinois realtors can help North Shore-Barrington, yay, we've done our job.
Yeah, well, you certainly have, and we've for our own resources on our website, we've consulted with IR's resources a ton. The great work that's been done down in Springfield regarding the pandemic, frankly, and keep, from the start, giving us our members the ability to continue to stay in business as an essential business. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk more about you, and specifically, if there's something you could be remembered for accomplishing while you're the president, what would it be?
Well, that's an interesting question, and I've thought about that. I think that every year a president comes in and they have a thing. I'm different. I don't have a thing. I embrace this as it's my year to be the guardian of this association. And my job is to just maintain the health and wellness of this association under my watch. This is a fun year. This is a pandemic year. This is a different year. I have Jeff. I have a transition. I have a tough year. I don't have any live face-to-face stuff yet. This has been already 5 months of putting it out over the internet, of picking up the phone, of making my message be heard through this environment. This has not been easy. You've seen different backgrounds behind me. So as guardian of this association, I just want people to know we're here to support you. So at the end of my year, if I'm remembered for anything, I want people to remember that Sue made it happen. We made it. We're strong, we're united, we're resilient, and we made it. And when we look back in September 2021, I want people to say it was a great year. We met Sue, we know Sue, Sue did a great job. I don't need to have any one great big thing. I just want my members to know we made it. Strong, united, resilient.
That's a great finisher. I have a couple more questions though, but that's a really great finisher. So
No,
yeah,
go ahead.
I'm gonna, all right. And this isn't Illinois Realtors. This is now just of more interest to our audience up here. I noticed that you're on Amred's board. You were there when I was there. And
have I ever been off Amred's board? I mean, I think there was like a year that I wasn't on that board for like a term out limit or something, but yeah.
Get right back on. Why do you feel it's important to spend some of what limited time you've got, right? You're very busy, but you spend valuable time helping to guide that mega MLS from the boardroom. Why do you do that?
So one of the philosophies of my life has always been, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So I have always felt that the leadership at Amred is genius. And I always have something to learn by serving in that room. Amred, previously MLS and I, has always had brilliance affiliated with it. It always has had a bigger picture or a bigger plan in mind. So by serving, I'm moving that little machine forward. I'm bringing insight to the table, and I'm learning along the way, because there is brilliance at that table. I also feel, as one of the few practitioners at the table, I can bring some information from I call boots on the street, to the table to remind them that some decisions they may make an impact to the people who use the system, the subscribers, that may or may not be good. Because some of the decision makers have never touched the keyboard, and I am a user. I list, sell, keep deals together, and try to get to a closing table as often as possible. So I think it's important that I sit at the table, not only to represent the subscriber, but my company, but also to keep moving that industry forward, because we need it, and we need it to work well.
Yeah, and again, the people you're sitting at that board table with, they're real estate brokerages, but they're executives. They're people that aren't necessarily boots on the street. So I get where you're coming from. It does look like we're going to have an incredibly busy market again here in 2021 for realtors. So I'm going to ask you this, and we'll pretend I'm an agent, broker, excuse me, that isn't involved right now in the association. And so here's the question. Is it worth it for a busy real estate professional to find time to participate with their association?
Oh, Jeff, that just goes right to my heart. Yes, 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 yes. And again, you have to give to get. And I'm a believer in you will get tenfold back everything you give to your association. This industry needs volunteerism. It needs people who are always willing to share and share alike and collaborate with others. Every time you share a secret, you share a story, you share your education, you share a tidbit, you share an on-the-job training, you hold somebody's hand and teach them a thing, you're going to get that tenfold back. Last night, I was showing a rental property I have, and the landlord came with me, and a brand new, never rented anything couple came in, and they asked me, how do we know how much our utilities are going to be? And I said, well, you're going to base it $1 per square foot per utility. So this is 760 square feet. Your gas bill is going to be $768 a year. Your electric bill is going to be $768 a year. Those are going to be, up and down depending on your heating or cooling. So let's figure that you're going to spend $1,600 a year in utilities. So that's $125 a month on top of your rent. Does that fit your budget? So those kids left, and the landlord went, how do you know that? And I'm like, I just know that. And he's like, I didn't know that. And I'm like, well, there you go, your tidbit for the day. So I shared it. He knows it. He'll share it with others. That's what association volunteerism does. That was with an outsider. But together, I would say that in a class. Together, I would say that in an orientation. If I'm with another realtor, I would say that. Together, collectively, when we collaborate, we all take each other to the next level and we raise the bar. That's our purpose in life. Help each other. We all get better, and you get tenfold back. Mm-hmm. Karma is a good thing. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer.
I love it. Well, all right. So is there anything else, because I know I've asked you a bunch of stuff here, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today before
I do. I want to talk about leadership. That's the thing we haven't talked about. And I do want to spend a second on leadership. Sure. People always ask me, why do you lead, and why do you continue to give, and why do you continue to go up the ladder? Because if you lead, people will follow. And the keys to leadership are to lead, to follow, to listen, to find your replacement, and to train them to replace you. So as a leader, that's my job. I have to lead. I have to follow someone. I have to listen to my members. I have to find my replacement, and I have to train them. So on that path, that's what I have to do. That's why I'm always telling someone else, come with me, come into leadership. If you are inspired to be the next something, I will help you be that, because that's what good leaders do. We lead, we follow, we listen, and we train our replacement. You got to do it. You're not going to be here forever. I'm going to someday just be that person in the audience. And I'm going to be so proud of the person at the podium because I helped them get there. That's what a true leader does. And I can't wait to be the person in the back of the room.
Yeah, well, first of all, you walk the walk, you talk the talk. I hope that you know that already. Number one. Number two, you can go and sit in the audience all you want. You're never just going to be somebody sitting in the audience. So, well, let's get that clear right now. So, the other funny thing that struck me is that I've had a number of staff people recently ask me to find my replacement. So I think I don't know if they mean it the same way you do.
That's not good, Jeffy.
Oh, yeah, really. It's not even been a year yet here. Sue, my friend, I cannot thank you enough for joining our podcast today. I'm so proud of you and what you've accomplished. not just, yeah, I say for all of us. We've all benefited from your leadership. And I'm just thrilled that you're the face of our state association. Keep up the magnificent work.
Jeff, thank you for having me. From my dining room, I truly live a blessed life. There is no way growing up I could imagine the life that I live. Every day I wake up and I am grateful and I am blessed. And my realtor world, my realtor friends, my realtor life have given me more than I can ever give back. But every day I get up and give as much as I can give. I am truly grateful for people like you in my world. You've been in my world for a long, long time, very, like almost my entire career, but we won't tell people that. I think you actually had dark hair when I met you. And I think I did too. But truly this life, and I tell people this when I teach pre-license, no one grows up wanting to be a real estate agent unless you're second generation. It's a career that you are drawn to for the desire to help, to save, to rescue, to help others. But when you get here, you're passionate about it from day one. And it truly is the most blessed and grateful place to be. So thank you for having me. I am always here for you. Thank you for being a great supporter of Illinois Realtors, and God bless you.
Yeah, vice versa.
Take care.
That's a wrap. Please keep an eye on NSBAR Communications to stay current on NSBAR happenings and to know when one of our great podcasts is coming up. Thank you, Bradley Laberman, for the great job running the board. And thanks to you for tuning in to Raising the NSBAR. I very much appreciate it. Please stay safe and let's hold out a little while longer. Take care.